Now I'm streaming over at that place. Well, I can't talk today, guys. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know how I'm going to do a show if I can't talk. What? YouTube. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
You can see here. I've got my breakfast of champions. Let's see, it's 11:05. Let me see if Jay Diddy is there yet, and it doesn't look like it. We got a great interview with Brandon Cox from Grace Hills Church in Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, I believe. And we got to get with him on Monday and talk for a while. And man, that was a good talk. Too tight. There. Ooh. Yeah, he was really good. So I'm using a new camera today. Let's see here. See if I can show you. Where is the pre-show? There we are. So using a new camera today, right here, this one, that one right there. And I would love to show it to you. In fact, I might. Hang on, let me see if I can do this. We'll do this live. Okay, now I got the other camera right here. I'm going to show. It is. There we go. This is a Sony. It's a 4K camera. For the life of me, I can never remember. Hang on, I'll look it up and tell you. I'm going to hit Amazon. It is a great camera. I'm working with Sony on some stuff, and part of our deal is that they are giving me stuff not only to review but to use, and it is fantastic. I've got my Vixia now over at the church, and hang on, got my Vixia that I have had here over at the church, and we are it's the FDR AX53. That's what it is. And it's got some great image stabilization to this. Really cool. So I'm loving it. Let me switch back over here now. There we go. Let me make sure that that's working. There we are. Okay. Whoop, whoop. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was tweaking that camera again so I could cut back to it. The Vixia is now up at the church as our second system or second camera. It has been for quite a while. It's been the camera that we've used at the church for doing our wide shot. It's basically sitting up in the balcony, shooting down at seriously, guys, I cannot talk today. I don't know what the deal is. I'm all humbly jumbly mushmouth. I'm like mushmouth over on remember Fat Albert? Back people my age will. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. They had that show, great cartoon back in like 71, 72, 73, something like that. They had that one guy mushmouth. I be what be talking doobie. God, it's funny. I feel like that today. I'm going to go share out our show here. So all you guys, wow, there's a bunch of people. What up, Dave? That was from Adam McLaughlin saying hi. Hi, Adam. How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Brandon Cox has joined. Fantastic. Well, this ought to be good, Brandon. You're gonna get to kind of get the meta view. You're gonna get to watch yourself be interviewed. Let's see here. Be sure to say hi in here. And guys, if y'all have any questions as we get into Brandon's interview, be sure that you are asking him here in the chat. Brandon's here, and for as long as his schedule will allow, he'll be here, and he can answer all kinds of questions. So be sure to do it. Hi, Anthony. I'm glad you're here, buddy. I need to get over to YouTube because I'm going to tell you, we have one faithful viewer over at YouTube, and that is Tommy. I love it. Good old Tommy. Tommy Willis. I love Tommy. He's a heck of a guy. Going to see Tommy tonight, actually, in the CTA Mastermind Live group coaching session that we're going to do from about 8 to 10 p.m. Central Time, Texas time. I guess for Brandon's sake, I'll say Arkansas time, but it's still Texas time. Let's see here. There we go. We're live over there, and no one has said anything. We don't have a huge following yet on YouTube. By the way, anybody who's watching this, if you have not gone to to youtube.com/Church Training Academy and subscribe to our page, we would love it if you guys would do that. Please go subscribe to our page and click that little bell up there to be notified on when we have a new video go live, whether we go live or whether we publish a new video. We're doing three things a week over there. We've got new stuff 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So on Tuesdays, we put something up, and on we put up the previous week's show, right? So the edited version goes up on Tuesdays. The Wednesday is usually a tutorial, a how-to, a pro tip, something like that. And then on Thursdays is the live stream. And as we continue to generate more content and create more stuff and get our content schedule fleshed out more, we may increase that on YouTube. We'll just have to see. But we'd love it if you guys would go over there and subscribe. And by all means, share it. Share it with anybody and everybody that you know that this can be a help to. I am surprised, without us doing any work, trying anything with it, just basically putting it up and putting content there. We hadn't even optimized. There's still optimizations I haven't done on the YouTube channel. But for the past year, we've had people joining in from all over the world. I'm getting messages from folks that are in various countries in Africa that are asking for help on using this camera or what kind of streaming software we're doing and stuff. I mean, that's just flooring me. And that's without us even putting any effort into it. Now that we're starting to put some effort into it, really love to see those subscriptions go up and the interaction go up there. So everybody go and subscribe, and please share that link with everybody you know. Let me see if my brother is here. I think I just got a ding from him. He is ready. Hallelujah. Here we go. I'm going to bring old J. Diddy in. Hello, hello.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning, sunshine.
All right. What's up? Hang on. My Google Hangouts is still ringing me.
What?
Yeah.
How can that be?
It's in my mail. That was weird. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I know it does that. All right, cool. I'm going to stop the music here for a sec, just so that we can get started in a minute. All right. So I set up a dual screen window for us here. Let's see here. All right, there I am. Still with this cough, folks. I still have this stupid cough. It's minor though, and it's all allergy stuff. I hate the allergy stuff. How are yours doing, Justin?
They're fine as long as I stay drugged up.
Ah, yeah. All right, let's see here. Okay, here's what our dual screen looks like. You should be seeing it on the stream here in just a sec. And now I need to do a little tweaking on it. Not much.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now I always have to make sure I'm not picking my nose or...
Yeah, don't pick your nose and
teeth.
stuff when we're talking. Don't be that guy.
So I always have to be camera ready.
Welcome to my world. And when you're as good looking as us, it's not that hard. So that's the good thing. All right. So we have our dual up. That's awesome. I love it. Okay.
So I just maxed out an iMac Pro build, and it's only $13,000.
That's
I'm
it?
honestly surprised it's that cheap.
That's it, and you don't have the option of replacing the screen if it goes bad.
Well, that's why you buy AppleCare, which is the same cost as a regular iMac.
I know, it's ridiculous. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I am torn. I mean, I love the Mac OS. I mean, I really do. I just I've been using it right now for 10 years. 10 years, 2007. Where'd you go? Hey. He left.
What? Did my thing just disconnect?
Yeah, the video did. Oh, hang on. No, it didn't. That was me.
Oh.
Because I clicked on the thing. I was going to go look at Facebook. Hang on. I'll bring you back. There you are.
Come on, amateur.
No, I'm stacking stuff up around here. That's funny. All right, so I'm going to cut back to me just so that I can... All right, now I'm going to go look at Facebook real quick. I'm really thinking that, let's see, nobody can really see. You can barely see the edge of the keyboard. I've got a black MacBook over there. That was the 13-inch MacBook, the black one. Paid the extra $200 to have it black. Back in 2007, it's a Core 2 Duo, and the only thing it is now is a Plex server here at the house. But I've had it since 2007, and I love it. It's a great system. All right, John G. Mullet has joined. Anthony Bowman has joined. We've got Jordan in here. We've got Brandon in here. We've got Adam Mack, and the Mac is back, no slack. And I got my pastor texting me saying that he rewatched The Force Awakens last night. Because he and I and my buddy Frank are going over tonight at 11:30 to see Last Jedi. And I will
be watching mine on Saturday.
Awesome.
In Virginia.
Yeah, I'm taking Catherine and the girls Saturday morning. In fact, like tonight, I need to go ahead and get on Fandango, see if I can get matinee tickets. See if we can get in around 10 o'clock or so. We
got ours the first showing at 11:30. It was still like $13 a ticket because it's on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
with us, it's the matinee times shift. They seem to be fluctuative. Is that a word? They fluctuate.
Yes.
Sometimes the matinee time is, like noon. If it starts at noon or later, then it's the cutoff. Sometimes it's 10:45 or something. I mean, it's frustrating, but
yeah. So if you're watching this live and you're seeing Star Wars, let me know down below when you're watching it, because I'm ready to have a discussion in the CTA live, CTA Insiders group.
Yeah, and
talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. But I don't want to have it too early. I do that in my Nerd Pastors group.
Yeah.
I do spoiler discussions, and everyone's like, "I haven't seen it yet."
Yeah,
so it's like, okay,
I'll wait. we'll definitely keep it in the CTA Insiders, but we got to get the okay from pretty much everybody in there before we can start talking about it. So Justin and I think at the max are going to give y'all like a week, maybe 10 days before we really start talking deep about the movie. It's rolling the dice.
Yeah, by then I'll have watched it, studied the Greek. Analyze the form, the Jedi Master form being used, and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. That'll be awesome. No,
all right, ready to get started?
Yeah, I am. Do you have your pro tip ready? Are you going to be sharing your screen, or do you need me to?
Yep. No, it's super simple. If you want, I can give you a picture to show.
Let's see.
But it's super simple.
Okay.
It's just one list. It's one item out of a larger list I have for the article coming out next week.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. All right, kids.
Yeah, it's about Christmas.
Nice. That's kind of apropos, ain't it? All right, I think we're good. By the way, I'm just curious. How does everybody be sure that you go and take a look at last week's show? This is the first show where I tried a new intro. It's a much faster intro. It's about 4 seconds or something like that, 5 seconds. And just curious if anybody likes it. I hope you like it, because we're going to be going with very short intros and stingers and stuff like that from now on. We're not going to do any of the big stuff. Let's see. Everything is cocked and loaded. I'm going to stop the recording and start a fresh one. Fantastic. No frames dropped. I'm loving it. I'm using a new camcorder here for the show now. I was telling them using a Sony 4K FDR 53, something like that. Part of a arrangement I have with Sony to start getting some equipment in for testing and reviewing and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be getting Sony stuff and taking it to our church and actually putting it in a real world scenario for you guys. It's going to be cool. All right, so let me do the intro.
Go for it.
Hey guys, if you haven't realized it, the world is on the internet. The internet is everywhere, which means your church needs to be on the internet. But more importantly, your church needs to be effective on the internet, okay? And it all starts with your church's website. And that's what we're going to talk about today with Pastor Brandon Cox. Okay. And
I don't even know. I don't know what our song is. That's what it sounds like in my head. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, no. In fact, the new one is da 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 da. All right,
it's ESPN 8.
Yes, ESPN 8. Sports Center, no viewers, all politics. All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of CTA Live. I am your host, Dave Curley, and in case you're not sure what's going on here, CTA Live is the live podcast for Church Training Academy. And Church Training Academy is a website where we all learn how to use and exploit media and technology in order to fulfill the gospel. And with me, as always, is my fantastic co-host and my friend and my brother and my partner, Mr. Justin Nava. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Dave? What's up, guys? I'm glad to be here. This is what is second to last show of the year.
I think that's right.
And this is, I know I say this some weeks, a lot of weeks, maybe every week, but this is my favorite show so far.
Well, that's good. That's good. And it's probably because of Brandon and he's your hero and all this sort of stuff. I thought you were going to be in the interview and stuff. I kept looking at your little icon thumbnail thing, and you had big smiles on your face, and I was like, he's going to start giggling like a little girl in a minute.
Giggling, yes, like a little girl. Thankfully, I was able to hold that back.
Hey, we have a surprise for you guys. For what it's worth, if you don't know this, Justin and I have never actually met in real life. We've never shaken hands, we've never high-fived, never fist bumped, never so much as looked each other up and down in a judgmental manner. Never laid eyes on each other in the real world, and all that's getting ready to change. What is happening here in week 10 days? 9 days?
In a couple of days.
Yeah.
We're actually going to meet for those of you young people that don't understand. We're going to meet IRL is what we're going to do. Dave has family in South Texas, and I'll be traveling up to Houston from Souther, Texas. And so I'm actually going to pass him on my way. And so he's going to take his camera. I'm going to take my phone, and we're going to have a third party holding a camera, and we're going to do a super cheesy. We're going to go meet in a field. And we're going to run towards each other in slow motion.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finally see how tall Dave is, because he could, based on his setup, he could either be 6'11" or 4'10". I'm not sure yet, but I'll finally figure out who's taller.
That's funny. Yeah, I can't tell how tall you are either, because even when you're like holding Jill, she's a tiny little human. So, and there's like no frame of reference whatsoever. I haven't seen you walk through a door. I haven't seen you stand next to a light switch or anything like that, And, you're in an older rental, so even if you were standing next to the light switch, it could be one of those ones that's like halfway down on, waist level at the wall for all I know.
That's right. So we're finally going to figure out who's taller.
That's right.
That's the big question everyone's been asking.
Yes, and we are going to do a few short videos there. You know, you guys are going to be able to see it. We're probably not going to live stream us meeting simply because we're doing it with multiple cameras. We want to catch, you know, his view, my view, me standing there at the window, you know, waiting for him. He's here. You know, that's all that sort of stuff.
His is gonna be blue tinted and snowing as he leaves the car. And mine's gonna be orange tinted with palm trees out, and it's hot. And I'm gonna have my Hawaiian shirt, and we're gonna drive, and we're gonna meet in the middle.
That's right. It's gonna be really cool. We're really looking forward to it. So, today, we do have an interview with Brandon Cox. He was not able to join us live. We talked to him earlier this week, and if you guys don't know who he is, at your leisure, hit his website at brandonacox.com. He is loaded with info. This guy is really cool. And you know, I was telling Brandon, my pastor is like this as well. He's one of these guys that, I mean, I don't know how he sleeps, raises a family, you know, goes to see Last Jedi or anything like that, because, you know, he's pastoring a church, he's ministering to people, he's marketing his church, he's doing creative, and he's doing his own blog, and he's sharing constantly. I mean, I get at least one email in my inbox from him a day with some great resource. I mean, it is really cool. And my pastor, he's like teaching classes at the university level. He's, you know, running our church. He's, you know, writing books. And I mean, how do these guys do all this stuff? I have no idea. I mean, I have a hard enough time getting this show put together. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying. It's so easy for me to do multiple things at once.
Perfect. That's good.
That's why I'm here, to help you.
That's right.
Yeah, these guys are masters, and Brandon too. You know, that was one of the things I asked him. I said, "Hey, we can talk about your website, or we can talk about your time prioritization," because I'm the same thing. I get emails sometimes twice a day from him. Mm-hmm. He's leading classes. He runs 2 blogs. He also does coaching, blog coaching and leadership coaching, and he's writing books left and right. He's got a lot going on because he is super passionate. And he's, quite frankly, good at what he does. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely going to have him back, hopefully in 2018. But for today, we have him talking about a church website, which I know we're talking about a lot, but it's super important. And he's actually what I would call at the top of the field, because we'll get into this in the interview, but Pro Church Tools, who is kind of the empire of church communications right now, in a good way, not the empire from Star Wars. That sounded bad. Yeah. Brady's built an empire.
Yes, he has.
For church communications. And he has a list that he comes out every year with the top church websites. And Brandon's church has been on that list, actually in the top 5. I know it's not really in order, but he's at the top of the list for both of those years. So I absolutely wanted to have him come on and share his ideas and struggles, and that's what we're going to get into today.
Fantastic. And it is going to be a really good interview, guys. Before we do that, though, we want to share our pro tip of the week with you. And I know Justin has put something together. And so, Justin, why don't you go ahead and let me make your screen full size here. Why don't you go ahead and share with the gang what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, so today's pro tip is all about Christmas pictures, and your website. And I sent Dave an example. It's just a stock photo, but it's a photo that a lot of churches do, because we have Christmas parties, we have deacon Christmas parties, we have small group parties. We usually have a church gathering. I know this year, a lot of churches that I've worked with are doing breakfasts or brunches before Christmas service because it's on Christmas Eve. So they'll say, Sunday morning activities are canceled. We're having Christmas breakfast and then service. And with these big events like Christmas or Easter or something like that, but right now Christmas, we often actually take the time to find a photographer, either someone that's a volunteer or bringing a friend to actually take pictures, because this is a big event. And I sent Dave a picture that we typically see that are taken sometimes at a Bible study or a small group Christmas party. And what we like to do is we take these pictures and then we think, wow, these are really good pictures. This may be the only time we take pictures of our church that look good, bust out the DSLR. And we want to display them on the website for everyone to see because it's a good representation of what our church is. It's happy people, it's gathering, it's fellowship. If you're Baptist, there's probably some food involved as well. And we put that on the website because it's a good picture and we want to show it off. The danger, what I call the Christmas trap, is that we forget to take that picture down after the holiday is over. After Christmas is over, after King's Day is over, we keep the picture up because it's a nice picture. Here's the problem with that, and here's the issue with that. A lot of visitors will see with your church. If a visitor or a potential visitor or guest, whatever you want to call them, goes to your church website, and in March, in April, in May, they go to a Bible study page and they see this pretty Christmas picture from the Bible study Christmas party, the thought that will come up is, these guys haven't done anything since Christmas. Same thing with your youth ministry. You know, might have a youth worker Christmas party that you took pictures at and you want to say, meet the volunteer team. Well, when it's 100 degrees outside or 90 degrees outside and the leaves aren't brown, the leaves are nice, lush green, a Christmas picture just looks outdated. And the thought that comes up is, have these guys done anything since Christmas? It doesn't look right. It's kind of like we talked about in the course, is if I go into Hobby Lobby right now, I expect to see Christmas stuff. You know, my wife will buy ornaments. I will go find the Marvels, you know, the canvases and stuff like that. But she's buying ornaments and Christmas tree decorations and all this kind of stuff. But if we go in February or even January, that Christmas stuff is out of there. They are making way for the new stuff. It's kind of like if I went into a store right now and I see Halloween decorations, something's not right. Someone's being lazy. Something. Do I want to buy their candy? Because who knows how long that's been there? Maybe it's been there since Halloween. I don't know. Well, the same thing is true for our websites. We need to keep our images updated with the season. So my pro tip for you this week is, take your Christmas pictures, absolutely put them on your website. But after Christmas, you might have a 2 or 3 day buffer, maybe after New Year's. But as soon as possible, after Christmas, get those pictures down and put up some relevant pictures. Go back to the winter pictures. Go back to the general worship pictures that you have, the general group pictures that you have. Because if I go in February, March, April, May, and I see Christmas pictures on your website, it audited. And quite honestly, I have actually had this discussion with a potential church visitor. I said, what do you think of this website? And they said, you know, it looks outdated. It's not really well designed. And whether this is true or not, this is what they believe. They say, I see commercials about how easy it is with Squarespace and different tools out there, how easy it is to maintain a website. And this was her words. If this church, if this organization cannot effectively keep a website updated, I don't think I can trust my children with them. And I was kind of like, whoa, that's kind of deep. But how many other people are having that idea that when they see a dated website, maybe they'll see a dated security ministry or a dated children's ministry or outdated practices as far as, you know, keeping children checked in and safe. And so all these things, design, it matters. You may think, oh, colors don't matter. No one's eternal life is affected. But your church's reputation and the way people see your church is really affected by your website. People are judging your website. People are judging your church based on your website. So don't fall into the Christmas trap this year. Take your pictures, show them on the website. But if you're going to be on the website, be sure to take them down after the holidays and keep your website seasonal. So Easter comes up, put up some Easter pictures. Summer comes up, put up some camp pictures, some nice warm weather pictures, but don't let winter pictures overtake your website for the whole year. No matter how good they are, avoid that trap and keep your website images seasonal, just like other businesses and organizations would on their site. Churches are no exception.
You know, that's a really good point, and that's actually one of the things that that Brandon talks about is the fact that, and he'll go into this a little bit deeper, but the basic premise is that we are all consumers, okay? And we have to remember that as marketers and as church marketers and as ministers, the guy in charge of the website, you need to remember that we have all been trained as consumers. So we think along those terms. So it is completely logical for her, your friend, to think, I can't trust them with the security of my children because this is technology. It's what's going on in her head. This is technology, and they're putting this technology out for the world to see, and it's outdated, and they're not paying attention to it. Are they going to have outdated technology for my kid for keeping the security? Do they even have any? Or is it just going to be an 85-year-old lady sitting in a rocking chair feeding Ritz to my children, you know, like they did in a nursery 40 years ago? You know what I'm saying? And it makes a lot of sense because we think about that when we walk into any other store. When you walk into a store, you expect that, the door opens, there's security, you see a guy, you see all this sort of stuff, and it all stems from their big, huge picture that they're putting out there for the world of here's who we are, here's way we are cutting edge or pay attention or care about all these little bitty details that basically put our face out there for everybody to see. So I think it's really a big deal. It really is. And I never thought about that. I mean, as you were saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, the staff pictures on our church's website still have them standing in a nice green background. We should have them standing in front of a pile of leaves or a bunch of dead, dried up trees or something.
That's I've seen that trap too on the Christmas, what I call, the Christmas trap on staff pages. One family has a nice Christmas portrait. Obviously they paid a couple $100 for professional photography. So it's nice white snowy ground and Christmas trees behind them. Mm-hmm. That might be the lead pastor. And then you scroll down and the youth pastor is in Hawaii or some kind of palm tree behind him. And he's got sunglass shades on and it looks, it's jarring. It really is. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. It's the little things like that. We have to, churches 100, 200 years ago, we used to set the trend and we're behind, but we still have to meet expectations, even if it's just little things like that. Yeah, totally.
All right, let's get into our discussion with Mr. Brandon Cox. Guys, I hope you find this useful. Justin and I were furiously taking notes, and we want to share this with y'all because there's a lot of really, really good information in there. Brandon Cox has been a pastor for 20 years. He served churches of every size, from small church of 35 to, being on staff at Saddleback. Yeah, with over 20,000 people. Huge. He's now 6 years into planning Grace Hills Church in Northwest Arkansas, and they've grown from 2 families to over 450 people every weekend. Brandon also has a background in social media and marketing. Strange Bedfellows, pastoring, social media. He's helped relaunch Pastor Rick Warren's Ministry Toolbox and Pastors.com, as well as written a book called Rewired, which is all about how the church can embrace social media and spread the good news further and faster than ever before. And he's married to Angie for 20 years, and they live with their 3 kids in Centerton, Arkansas. Brandon Cox, thank you, my brother, so much for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to hang out with us.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm honored, excited, and happy to be here.
So, married 20 years?
Yep, 20 years this year.
Fantastic. We just celebrated 23 ourselves.
Awesome.
My wife and I, not me and Justin. Justin and I are not married. Justin,
That's good.
I'm married. Somebody else.
Yeah, not to be confused. Don't confuse. Let's not get that at all confused.
Could be a whole nother podcast.
Right. Brandon, the reason why I wanted you to come on here is because you are one of my personal heroes. The fact that you're a pastor and you're teaching leadership, you're helping other ministries. And for me personally, your church's website has been on the Pro Church Tools top church website list, I believe 2 years that I know of, maybe even longer. Yeah. And so I really want to kind of extract, how are you doing that? Tell me what is your website strategy going into forming the Grace Hills website? How old is it? And kind of how did you plan to what kind of strategy did you put behind it for visitors to find your church?
Sure. Well, for one thing, I started designing church websites way back in 98. I was using Macromedia Dreamweaver, which is...
Yeah, Dreamweaver. Did you use Cold Fusion?
No, my brother is a Cold Fusion developer. But
nice. It's still around?
Yeah, still is. It's improving, actually. But anyways. Awesome. So started designing way back then when everything was about just, fill the website with as much information as you can. If you put your bulletin on there, put your pictures of your cemetery on there, whatever, just everything about your church, put it on the web. And that was the mentality. About 7 or 8 years ago, I just sort of had this shift where I started reading things about UX design, user experience design, and understanding that I was designing church websites for the church, and that's not really who a church website should be for.
Right.
So strategy-wise, everything just shifted for us, and it really affected everything we did as a church. So our Sunday bulletin has, about this much space for announcements. All the rest of it is for a first-time guest. Our church website, you have to click a couple of times to get into the things that are for church members. We really wanted the front and center to be for potential guests and everything about the site to be for potential guests. And we focused a lot on social, on SEO, search engine optimization, climbing Google as fast as we could. We focused on social integration with Facebook. So we just really tried to keep it simple and focused on people that weren't connected to a church yet. So that's kind of the big strategy, is design the site for people that are not in church yet.
The people that are not in church or non-Christians. You're talking generally Christians, people that just haven't found their place yet.
Well, for us, it's both, because we live in an area where people are moving in like crazy. They're coming from every direction. And so we wanted to be able to reach people that were moving to the area looking for a church, but also people that just would not connect with a traditional church in our area. And we're not like radical or crazy or anything, but there's a good, strong presence here of churches that kind of do traditional church really well. And we thank God for them. But we wanted to be able to have a presence for people that were searching or seeking for church, but may not fit into the traditional model of Bible Belt Arkansas church culture.
Right. Okay. You said that one of the things that you focused on was getting ranked in Google and climbing the SEO ladder and stuff. Keyword stacking and all this kind of stuff doesn't work anymore. So what was your strategy behind doing that to being relevant? That's actually something that my pastor and I are working on between YouTube and Google in general as well.
Yeah. Well, while keyword stacking or stuffing doesn't work as well anymore, there are these basic factors like the heading tags, the title tag, the image alt tags, those kinds of things that are sort of on-page factors. We just went through our website and tried to think like someone moving into the area looking for, like we tried to think of a family moving to our area that had kids that may or may not have a church background, but they're thinking about church. They're maybe looking for a church. What are they going to look for? And I don't think that anyone's going to search for Grace Hills Church Kids Ministry. What they might search for is Best Kids Ministry in Northwest Arkansas. So we actually title our pages accordingly. So it's not titled Grace Hills Church Kids Ministry. It's titled Great Kids Ministry in Northwest Arkansas - Grace Hills Church. So those are sort of the on-page factors that we focused on. Tried to do good internal linking and use a good name. The word just slipped my mind. The robots text files, all those kinds of things that are just serving our site up to search engines. And then we started looking for external link backlinks. So we joined Chamber of Commerce and looked at local government websites and local community sites, did some advertising on local news sites, anything we could do to get backlinks from local sites that were trusted. That was another big factor for us. And then we also just did some SEO research. And I use a little tool called kwfinder.com that kind of, you type in like churches in Northwest Arkansas and hit enter, and it says, hey, 900 people a month are searching for that. Okay, let's go for it. But if we typed in, Bentonville churches, maybe only 10 people are searching for that. So, okay, we're not going to worry about that. So we just really went after those keywords that people were using to try to find a church.
That's cool. Well, what was it? KW Finder, you said?
kwfinder.com.
Okay, keyword finder, right.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there. It's more affordable and, to me, a little easier to use. It's like $12-13 a month as opposed to $30 to $50 for other tools.
So that was pretty high level up there as far as SEO. Most churches are not thinking that high level, right. But there is a place to start, right? You can't just go out and expect to run a marathon tomorrow, especially if you look like me. But you can start taking baby steps and say, okay, let's get the title tags figured out. Let's get the meta descriptions. And then next week we'll get the internal linking. And then next week we'll find one place to backlink out. It's kind of like a website is saying, hey, go check these guys out. And Google sees that almost like a referral, like, okay, these guys actually mean something. They're just not a nobody, especially if you get those higher authority sites like your local news or other places. Those places count a little bit more to Google. I want to shift to the design here and actually look at your homepage because you have something unique that a lot of churches still haven't caught on to. And that is a very visitor focused kind of tagline, I guess, your header here. So when you go to gracehillschurch.com, your header and your tagline are very visitor centric. So right off the bat, we're saving a seat for you. And I'll just read this for the podcast listeners. We don't care how you're dressed, how many tattoos you have, or what candidate you voted for. We're a church full of broken and perfect people with every kind of story imaginable, and we're saving a seat for you. So that is very different from what you find on most churches. Most churches, we're a discipleship-focused church. We believe in this, or our God is good. But you're very visitor-focused. Was that the first thing you workshopped, or was it a journey to get to kind of where you landed now with we're saving a seat for you?
Yeah, for us, it's kind of been that way from day one. We had to make a decision early on. And for other pastors and church leaders, I would urge you to make this decision. It's a tough one. We can have a church website that impresses the church and says to other church leaders, we are what you think we should be. We're focused on discipleship. We believe the Bible, those kinds of things. You can land on us and know that we're the kind of church you would recommend and whatnot. But we had to decide that just wasn't who we were looking to reach. So instead, we focused on who we wanted to reach. Now, we believe the Bible, we do discipleship, we do all that stuff, but that's not what we wanted to be front and center. Because while people will argue back and forth over whether the church is producing more consumers or whatnot, our belief is we reach people who are consumers. We turn them into disciples, but you reach them as consumers. So that we just focused on that. What is the person who is out there that's a consumer of things? What are they going to be looking for in terms of a church?
And by consumers, you're talking about folks that are looking for a church with the quote unquote, what can they offer me mentality, as opposed to how I can serve, correct?
Well, sort of, yes. But I'm actually thinking, when I say consumers, I'm thinking the general public that has been trained to think a certain way by all the marketing messages they receive. So whether they intend to be or not, everyone out there that we might reach thinks like a consumer. So that's what I'm thinking. It's not so much that we want to attract people with things. It's that we want to let them know this is a place where you, as a person who lives in the world and may or may not be familiar with the church, this is a place where you're going to be welcome. You're the person we want. And I should even throw in there that that helps us to clarify who we are for people that are looking for a church that isn't who we are. The whole "we save a seat for you," that phrase, actually, we started using that because we met in a movie theater. And I would often say, meeting in a movie theater helps us because it helps us to reach people that wouldn't necessarily attend a traditional church. But it also helps us in that it sort of keeps away people who have these high expectations of the kind of traditional church they're looking for. And it just let the public know we're here for people that, don't necessarily connect in a traditional setting.
What kind of battles did you have to face? Because I've worked with a lot of clients that begin that path of, we are going to make a visitor-centric website that may require a few more clicks for a member to find what they need. But the primary focus is to use it as a landing point for visitors to learn about the church, how they would fit into the church, and how they can get to the church. Yeah. But after a couple of weeks of putting that in there, the pressure sets in. This is not what we want. This is not making people happy. I like to say it's better for a member to spend 5 minutes to find something than a visitor to take 5 seconds to find something.
Yeah.
But that pressure really just kind of gets on the volunteer designer or the receptionist who's trying to do this strategy. How much pressure did you find that, or do you have a way to kind of cast that vision more so the church can buy in and not get so frustrated?
Sure. For me, it's a discipleship problem. And what I mean by that is it's a matter of training our church over time that if we say we're outward focused, we have to live that somehow. If we're here as a beacon and a lighthouse for a lost world, well, then that's who we're here for. And so over time, I think you have to be very intentional. You can make those cosmetic changes, and they're not going to sit well unless you've laid the groundwork. And for us, the groundwork are things like when we have our membership class, we go through, here's what it means to be a member. Here's our vision, our values. Here's the covenant that we have. And you come all the way down to the point of maybe signing that and becoming a member. And we stop the class and we go, hey, before anyone signs this, the last thing you need to know is that when you sign our membership covenant, that's the moment it stops being about what you want or need. You join, we turn outward together, and we go looking for more lost people. We've said that every single time we offer that class for the last 6 years, to the point that people sort of repeat it almost with a chuckle because they've heard it so much. So in other words, I think it's a long-term training the church to think outwardly like missionaries, as opposed to, and we even let people know sometimes. They'll say, well, I missed this event. I didn't know about it. I'm not in the loop. I think there should be more communication about these internal things. And we just train people to say, yeah, I'm sorry, we do let people down in that way sometimes. And we know that, but it's a choice we're willing to make because the win is we get to spend more time focusing on communicating with lost people. So if you want to stay in the loop, get in our Facebook group or get on our newsletter. Make sure you're getting those things, because we're not going to talk about those smaller things from the stage or on our website and that kind of thing. So it's just training over time.
Do you find that easier as from starting from scratch, planting a church, with two families and growing that culture and that mindset? Do you find it easier, or have you in the past, have you run up against, this entrenched, the people with the checkbooks are the ones that want it to stay like it was 47 years ago?
I will say it's definitely been easier in a church plant because we've gotten to use the same cultural language from day one. And so everyone coming in hears it and sort of embraces it or not. I think that a leader, one of the primary responsibilities of a leader is culture creation or culture shaping. And so from a leadership standpoint, I think it's a matter of understanding, how do I change the culture of a church if it's not a healthy one? And that comes by loving people, listening to them, and it comes through language. So, in a setting, for example, where I served a previous church that was much more traditional, and it was the kind of church that had a lot of business meetings, committees, votes on all kinds of things. And over time, I just sort of took time to build new language in and said, we're not going to have business meetings anymore. We're going to call them family meetings, because that's what they really are. It's the family getting together. And over time, we were able to do those less often. We were able to vote on fewer things. And then little tweaks that we would make, like in the finance report that got handed out, said, we don't have expenses anymore. They're investments. Okay. So it's not an expense. It's not costing us money. We're investing money in the harvest, So just little tweaks like that language-wise help to create a new culture. Along the way, when people did get upset, man, what's happened to my music? What's happened to my whatever, whatever it is it's kind of making them feel that way. I think our response is usually defensive, hey, I've got my theology and let me sort of set you straight. But a lot of times I think people just want to be listened to and validated. So, I think a better response is to say, I hear you, and I'm sorry. I know that's dear to your heart, and it's hard to let that go. So I hear where you're coming from. Would you mind if I share with you my reasoning? And here's where we're going. And I really want us to reach some lost people, and maybe even a story. So-and-so who came to be part of our church, and they go, yeah. Well, they came because of this language that we're using. And so if you can just sort of help me to embrace this and sort of just loving them and listening to them along the way goes much better than sort of steamrolling everything and just wrecking a church, trying to kill it and revive it. So.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think that's good. A mark of good leadership is doing that. You have a direction, and you're gently bringing people along instead of, like you said, steamrolling. And that's something that I'm really impressed with our new pastor, is that that's his mentality. He came in and just sort of sat back and started asking questions and listening and watching, and then started making little tweaks here and there, and started bringing new ideas and new directions and stuff online, which is really good.
I do have one more question though about Grace Hill's website. To bring it back to that is the blog. The Grace Hills blog is very unique because, again, a lot of church websites that I see, a lot of pastors, they use their blog as a second or as a platform for their second or third sermon of the week. Yeah. So I know a lot of pastors say, well, we're going to cut Sunday night, but you read our blog and we'll have another sermon there. Or pastors will write, respectively, what's on their heart. But Grace Hills is very much the opposite. And if you want proof, I'm looking at one blog here that says the title is "What Do Buddy the Elf, Hot Cocoa, and Ugly Christmas Sweaters Have in Common?" That's obviously not a sermon so much. And tell me, what results are you getting with your blog? What's your strategy? What's your end goal with it? And where have you found success? Because I know you do a lot of blog coaching too. So kind of walk me through Grace Hill's blog strategy.
Well, to me, a church's blog has the potential basically to supply great content for people. That's the way I think of it. Is I want to be able to put a blog post on our church website that, people share news stories all the time. Members of my church, they're sharing from CNN or Fox News, and those two people don't get along, so they're hitting each other with news links. Well, if I can give our people say an article about how singles can handle their money, or a story about a family that was put back together because of the gospel, or whatever. All of that I just see it as content that our people can share and can invite others to come and be part of Grace Hills by sharing that content. So that's my main goal with our blog. It's not to feed the church more. It's to give the church tools to share with others that aren't connected yet. So yeah, that's how I think of it.
That's pretty cool. Any advice for a pastor that wants to start a blog but doesn't really know what to do other than write a sermon?
Yeah, I think. My first piece of advice for pastors is you should blog, because it's a way of not wasting all the work you just put in. To me, a sermon is, take the average 35-minute sermon or 55, however many minutes you preach, and that's going to be a week's worth of blog posts. So what my wife Angie and I recently did, we launched a kind of a side site called walkhumble.com. And it's just basically our message broken into 5 pieces. And we tell people on Sunday, hey, subscribe to walkhumble.com and you get little follow-up pieces to this. And we go a little, in depth into those 5 pieces of the message and sort of extends that. So I think any pastor, when you're done preparing your sermon, just chop it into 5 pieces and then elaborate on each one. That's for a more devotional style sermon, a more devotional style blog. I do think pastors can get into blogging about leadership, blogging about preaching, blogging about all kinds of things. But at the very least, that's going to be one of the things you're best at, is giving people, again, something valuable to share by breaking that sermon up. And that way, when the message is over on Sunday, you're not done yet with all the work you put in to the 35-minute sermon.
That's the same mindset, I guess, that we teach with using your live stream and the recordings of your service, is that, in the past, everything has been focused towards that, the end game is the Sunday morning event. And then you start your week over again. And we say the end game is the day before the Sunday morning event, because you're launching the conversation with the event on Sunday morning, and you're talking these concepts and stuff, and then you can use snippets from your recorded video. You can use quotes and things like that to continue the conversation throughout the week through social media. And I love the idea of doing it with a blog as well. And that, we're talking bits and pieces on social media, bits and pieces in a blog, bits and pieces in daily emails or what have you and stuff, and I think it's that, and, you and I were talking about this before we started recording, that all these things, and that's why Church Training Academy is here. All these things that we do in the corporate world, all the marketing, all the using the technology to promote whatever the message is, 10, 4, and 2, drink, or 10, 2, and 4, drink more Dr. Pepper, that sort of a thing works. It works. It's why we all subscribe to Netflix. It's why we all go out and get Mountain Dew. It's why, we buy GoPro cameras and drink Red Bulls and everything else, and love Chick-fil-A. It's that marketing and stuff, and turning these tools and these mindsets towards the church makes sense, because, like you said, we're consumers. We consume what is out there. We listen to messages and we make decisions based on those messages. In this case, the product is a deep and abiding relationship with Christ.
Yeah. I think there's a great quote that I heard from John Piper years ago. It was just in conversation. He didn't say it was like to the public, but he was asked by another pastor about Twitter. He said, why are you using Twitter so much? And this goes back to when Twitter was really blowing up. And John Piper said, if there's a space out there where conversation is happening, I want to fill it with the glory of God. And I just loved that. That idea of, there's a space where conversation is happening. The church can show up or not. I mean, it's our choice. Get involved or stay out of it. If we stay out of it, we're just going to let the world go on without Jesus. So
that's right. I use that, not that quote, but that mindset when people are talking about Facebook. Facebook is just a cesspool of political, crap, and everybody's yelling and hating each other and all this kind of stuff, and arguments and all that sort of stuff, and that's my response is, then the church needs to be feeding content into there. We need to, there is no reason, there's enough Christians on the planet that there is no reason why everybody's stream can't be filled with more inspiration and hope and love and camaraderie, that there's just no reason. We just have to feed into it. Don't run away from it. Don't be scared of it. Run to it with the gospel. It's the same thing with YouTube. Churches don't want to turn on comments for their YouTube videos and stuff. I say turn on the comments and deal with it. You're going to get cussed. You're going to get trolled. You're going to get people. Okay, that's the way it is. I mean, if you're having coffee with somebody and an atheist is sitting at the table next to you and doesn't like what you're talking about and decides to be a jerk about it, what are you going to do? And, I mean, you can't turn off the table next to you. You just handle it. So handle it.
Absolutely. And if you're going to learn how to love people, God's probably going to do that by putting people around you that are hard to love. So.
That's right.
Where can people find more of your content, more of your stuff? Where can people find you?
Quickest way is just go to brandonacox.com, and everything else is linked to from there. So if you can land on that, you're good.
Brandon, thank you so much for taking your time to sit down with us and all that. And we really would like to have you back on the show. You've got your fingers in so many different places. There's, we didn't even talk about how you live inside my inbox every day. It seems, and I don't mean that from a negative standpoint. I mean, there's always another tool or another resource or something that you're sharing and stuff, and that's huge from a business standpoint, a ministry standpoint, a personal standpoint, all that sort of stuff. We ain't even talked about that stuff. I'd love to delve deep into that maybe next time. So thank you so much for just joining us today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's an honor. It's been fun.
Wow, that's a lot of really, really, really good information. Man. Thoughts. Give me your thoughts. We actually didn't discuss this after the recording, so give me your thoughts.
Yeah. So you go through a lot when you're actually in the thick of it. I know when I was part of the church, actually working at the church, not part of the church, I still am part of the church. But when I was actually on staff at the church, I fought a lot of those same battles, and our church is currently fighting similar ones where the someone well-meaning, noble desires that wants to see a certain ministry or a certain ideal or a certain object be seen on the church website that would appeal to the church and appease the church membership, but would not be attracting, and in fact would be confusing in the message, trying to bring people into the fold. And that is a struggle that is going to be pretty much anything we do in the media sphere is going to be along those same lines. And so the way he presented it, it does take a little bit more planning. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to do this and you're going to like it. Kind of like you said, you can't ham fist people into just going your way.
Right.
It requires a lot of top down vision casting from the leadership. And Brandon hit the spot on, it's a culture shift of once you sign this covenant, it's not about you.
Yeah.
You're going to turn out with us and chase people, not chase people, but, turn out with us and
Chase
serve
them
others. And so I really, really like that. And the website is just one piece of that. And I think that was very encouraging. And I loved his stuff about the blog about, repurposing it in the written form.
Absolutely.
And we talk about it in the video, but in written form as well. People share those articles. So
they do.
Yeah. What did you think?
Well, they do. They share those articles. People consume. That's why you and I are doing the breadth of content that we're doing, is because people have their preferred method of consuming content. So, having the video, cutting it up into sections, and writing those sections out and kind of expounding on a few things here and there, as well as sectioning out these bits and then, like, say, putting them on Facebook and stuff. That just makes sense. And I was thinking about this mentality, and I don't want that to sound negative because it can. This mentality of doing this and such. It's not that. I guess it's a mindset of. Well, there's always going to be that, well, we've never done it like that before. We've always done it like this, and that's, we're going to be fighting that, forever. But the mentality of, we want to have this on the website. We want to have this ministry up on the website. We want to have this ministry up on the website. Man, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there seems to be, in a lot of cases, that comes from a very works-based outlook, as in, look at what we're doing at this church, as opposed to, and I'm not saying that it's always like this, because there are people who are, this is the ministry that we're doing, and we want people who need this ministry to be here. That makes complete sense, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're coming at it from, people need to know about this. But if it's, well, we have this ministry, we have this ministry, we have this ministry, we got to list all this, we got to put it all up front and center, and look at all the great stuff that we do, and here's our beautiful building and all this sort of stuff. Catherine and I left a church here in Arlington. It's a small mega church, 4,000 people, something like that, maybe 5,000 by now. We went from being crammed in this little building with like 2 or 3 services, and everybody's sitting in the chairs like this, and you can't do anything, and everybody relishes the chance to stand up and sing because they can all spread out, and they leak into the aisles and stuff. It was awesome. We loved it. And there was this, look at what we're doing together, kind of camaraderie and stuff going on in there amongst us as members of the church. But then we got in this building campaign, and we spent a few $1 million building this gargantuan complex. And then that church has since been expanding it and doing all that sort of stuff. But we were there for a good 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, beyond the building and the finishing and completion of that project and stuff. Man, I tell you what, there was still very much, from the pulpit down, a look at what we've done mentality. And that is a pride thing, and that is a works-based mentality, I think, where you want to make sure everybody knows what you're doing for God. Or maybe falling into that trap could be very easy. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think the people that I've experienced this struggle with, and I say I've struggled along with them because, they have this desire for things. Really, it comes down to they just want to serve others so much that they lose the forest for the trees.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So they want people to know in the city to know about the Wednesday night video series, right? We have an amazing video series with, let's say it's a Louis Giglio video series that we're going through. We want all the parents to know that we're doing it for the youth. Can you put it on the website, right on the main page?
Right.
It's absolutely noble. It is for sure a noble ministry, a noble cause. It's something that is ministering to these kids, but they're losing the forest they're losing the big picture to try to get this one little detail in there.
Right.
And, we talked about StoryBrand was 2 weeks ago. And that's one of the things that Donald Miller talks about is, anytime we're communicating something, we're handing someone a bowling ball. And if we start communicating a lot, we're handing someone multiple bowling balls. And your job as a communicator is to make sure that you have one nice, light bowling ball that you hand someone that they can comprehend, that they can use, and that they can handle, and that they can understand, because it's a message.
Right.
But if you start tagging on, hey, Sunday we got this. Hey, Wednesday nights we have this. The kids are going here. Christmas is coming up. We got this too. And don't forget about breakfast. Eventually, they're trying to balance all these bowling balls. And then if you start adding even more on that, by the way, we're disciples who make disciples. And we also have a food pantry. Then you start oiling up, you start buttering those bowling balls so they can't handle it and they drop it for a lighter weight.
Yeah.
And that's how StoryBrand kind of expresses that. And it's tough because I've in my experience, I haven't seen it as a look at us. It's a desperation to get the ministry out there because there might be someone that needs it.
Right.
But like Brandon said, there's a communication channel for each of those scenarios.
Exactly.
So in the scenario of membership activities, their membership, from what I understood, their membership is expected to keep a track of the newsletter, open their emails. I'm sure he's emailing his congregation, and to look for in these places for announcements and events.
Right.
But the website is not for them. The website is for the visitors, and that's really what it comes down to. So I don't see it as a look at what we do. I think it's a please come, because we're trying to do some good here and we need the numbers. That's how I've experienced it.
That makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'm just cynical. That's
no.
I'm jaded. The idea that members that he was talking about, how the members know to go to the Facebook page, go to all that makes complete sense. And these individual ministries need to be thinking in those terms as well. And my guess is that at Brandon's church, because they started with this culture from when it was two families in the living room, and that can easily permeate throughout the whole thing as the church grows. The people that are in charge of the ministries, I think, need to be thinking in those terms as well. That even to the point that if the ministry is substantial enough, it needs to have its own Facebook page. As a and like linked out or whatever from the current from the church's Facebook page, so that communication specific to that ministry. If it's a food pantry or if it's something that is dealing, it could easily be its own little micro ministry apart from the church. It should be thought of like that. The MOPS thing. If you got a MOPS group in your church, they need to have like maybe a group or something that is for the people who are in it, so that they can get direct communications. But then announcements go on the Facebook page or go out in the email or something. But these people, from the time they walk in the door, they're trained. Here's where you're going to get all the meat, and here's how we advertise. We're starting a new semester. Come join us. And all these tools that we're teaching and learning about and implementing ourselves and stuff can help spread this message. There's no reason why the local MOPS group or the men's Bible study group or whatever that wants to have more people coming, the men's breakfast that they do once a month or something, there's no reason why they can't be doing Facebook ads and targeting men in this area, in this demographic that identify as Christian. You see what I'm saying? That kind of thing to bring people into that ministry.
Yeah, it's like in our interview with Adam McLaughlin, where he said, people think that if it's not announced on Sunday, that no one's going to come.
Yeah.
Or if they think, I still experience this too. If it's not on social media, people aren't going to know about it.
Right.
And I tell them, I say, social media, if we don't put money behind it, only maybe 10% of our audience is going to see it. And so it's a shift in that thinking.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, it's what's a nice word for ignorance? They just don't understand.
It is ignorance.
Our membership a lot of times doesn't understand that there are ways you can micro communicate with people.
Absolutely.
Texting is a huge thing.
Yep.
Facebook groups is a huge thing because anytime someone posts in the group, everyone in the group gets a ding. So instead of relying on the algorithm, Facebook page algorithm, to serve it up to people, and they might miss it while they're scrolling, they'll actually get a ding. You can send an email to your ministry and tell them we're having a meeting on Friday night. You don't have to announce it from the stage to 200 people, an announcement that applies to 7 people.
Right.
And you don't have to put it on Facebook and hope people see it and remember it, because if they don't remember it, they're not going to go back to Facebook to find the time. Right. But they will keep an email. They will keep a text. And so it's just that education. And we'll talk about that in our courses in 2018. It's educating people. This is how you micro communicate. Because again, like Adam said, if you start over communicating things that don't apply to people, they're going to tune everything out and they're going to miss everything.
Right. And they're going to be carrying those greasy bowling balls through the buffet line, and through that conversation with their family and stuff. And all of that's going to get dropped by the time they get home.
Exactly. So, yeah. Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. I think that's definitely a direction we will be heading in 2018. We'll keep doing the video stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, our first course of 2018 is going to be on live streaming, one aspect of it.
Yep.
But we'll also weave in that communication stuff because that is super important.
Yep.
And eventually it's going to come up. Someone's going to say, can you announce this on the live stream? Can you put a pre-roll ad for the live stream? And it may not fit your strategy.
Right.
So we need to have answers and be prepared for that. So yeah, I think Brandon nailed it on the head. And again, beautiful website, obviously effective website. And I'm so excited we had him on here. That was a dream come true for me.
I agree. Would you like to tell folks about, I don't know, if there was like seven like bullet points or something that every church website need to have, do you think you could, speak to that or something?
7 is a lot, Dave.
You think?
7 is a lot. 3, maybe. 3, I'm kidding. Yeah, we do have a resource called the 7 Church Website Essentials. And I can tell you this is that Brandon's website, his church's website, Grace Hill's website, and in fact, many of the websites on the top 25 church website list that Brady has, they hit all of these essentials, these 7 church website essentials. So this is actually a guide that we put together. Dave's been doing websites for I don't know how many years, and I've been doing church websites for the last 10 years. And I've discovered, kind of what works and what doesn't work. And if you feel like your website is working against you, if someone says, well, I saw the website, but I didn't think I'd fit in, or you don't hear, really what you should be hearing from your new members is, I saw the website and I thought this was a place I could fit in, or I saw the website and it looked like they had something for me, or I saw you get that's kind of what got me into the freelancing of church websites environment, is because I was hearing this consistently from our new members. And I thought, man, I need to share this. And when Pastor brought me on to do their website, which, gave me the confidence to start asking, hey, do you have a website? What's it doing for you? And something I always hear is, I feel like it's a time sink, a time sink and a money sink. And like Brandon said, your website is not an expense, it's an investment.
Right.
So if you want to make your investment smart, you need to make sure you invested in the right thing. So go to the website, betterchurchwebsite.com. That's betterchurchwebsite.com, no S, betterchurchwebsite.com. And there you can get our free guide of 7 church website essentials. This is going to help boost your website to actually speak to potential visitors, and it's going to help you communicate things to get them in the door, or get their contact info so you can nurture the relationship using email, like we talked about. Nurture them to come into the church, because even if they decide not to come, the following Sunday, you have their email, because 2 of these essentials actually talk about getting their email, and you can nurture them and say, hey, by the way, this Sunday we're starting a new sermon series. Do you have questions about creation? We have the Awana Carnival today. Do you have any kids? And you can use that email to nurture them to actually make a visit in person. So that's over at betterchurchwebsite.com. You can finally know what's going to make your website work for you instead of you working on it. It's going to actually turn into a visitor generating machine. So again, that's betterchurchwebsite.com.
Fantastic. And it's a really good resource. I like the way we did it was we have this free resource for folks, but our members actually have access to a full course. You want to take a minute and just sort of go over what our membership, if you are a Church Training Academy member, what kind of stuff you're going over in that full course?
Yeah, so in the full course, we call it the Definitive Church Website Formula.
Yep.
Because I am the kind of person that I feel like I have to spend the money and do the trial and error so our members don't have to.
Right.
Because I have spent hundreds of dollars on platforms and plugins, and I have tried a lot of things that either broke my website or didn't look right. And I feel like I have to pass that on. So
you need
this
to,
is
because
actually the Definitive Church Website Formula, because I have not actually seen, and I haven't seen everything, but I have not seen a layout, a formula for church websites that actually goes page by page and what you need to communicate with your potential visitors. Now, this is a site, this is a building platform, not platform. This is the foundations of what it looks like to build a website like Brandon's that actually communicates to visitors. So in this course, we actually go through figuring out who your website is for, because that's going to impact what you communicate. And then actually what to put in the basic pages that every church website has: the homepage, the staff page, what a ministry page should look like, a landing page, what that is and how to use it to increase your event signups, even the giving page. Because a lot of church websites right now, you click on the give button and it either takes you just to a credit card form right away and you're like, whoa, what am I giving to? Or it takes you to a cheesy button that just says give here. And it's like, well, I just clicked give. Now I have to click another button.
Right.
And you're not really encouraging people what they're giving to. I don't know if I'm giving to the pastor's salary or to the new fountain out back, So we actually go into that too. And then a couple different strategies, like, what fonts to use or how many fonts to use, colors. And then as we go along the course, you actually watch me build a website. I start off with a blank slate, and then I actually build the website as we go through the course to where it's an actual fully functioning website. So that is part of our membership as well. And then, of course, also with the membership, you get access to our CTA Insiders, where as you build your website, you can share it and you'll get advice or tips, or, hey, this color looks bad, or this word's misspelled, or it doesn't work on this phone. You'll actually have a mastermind of people around you, including me and Dave, that can give you feedback to actually help you further accomplish your goal. So you're not going in blindly.
Yep, that's right. So anyway, that's what happens when you, the kind of stuff you get when you join Church Training Academy. So this has been a really good show, a lot of really good information. I hope it's been helpful to you guys. I hope y'all have been able to get some good info out of this. I really want you guys to take to heart what Brandon was saying and the things we've been discussing here, as well as the things that we've talked about in weeks past. We're kind of, we're kind of hitting all these little core things that take some mind shifting if you've been doing it the old way as it is for so many years. But you can see it's really effective. I mean, Brandon's church has gone from 4 to like over 400. That's pretty huge for a church plant to grow that quickly and have that many people that are on board for this same focused mission. That's a big deal. And that many people pointed through the power of Christ on the same mission, on the same path like that, can literally change the world. And we saw it done with 12, So Guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. And we really appreciate you guys being here. Take what you've learned today and go change some lives. And that's the end of the show. So what's going on in the chat room? Anybody there?
The typical stuff. Tommy had to hop off, but he's listening. Jordan said, Dave, cynical? Never. And Jordan said, don't forget about the CTA Mastermind meeting tonight.
Yes.
Which most of our listeners for this show are not masterminds or CTA insiders. But yeah, that is happening tonight. So what that is Dave can probably explain it better, but basically it's the CTA insiders. We get in a room, a virtual room, and we allow our insiders to actually pick our brains and run by live stream issues, equipment needed, how-tos. Dave will actually share his screen and say, this is how you cut a 1x1 video for Facebook. And unfortunately, I probably 95% chance will not be able to join tonight because I am traveling. And unless we just make super good time, I won't be able to hop on. I may be able to hop on audio on my phone and kind of ping in, but I won't be at my computer or on video.
Yeah. The CTA Mastermind group is is private coaching, basically. The easiest way to look at it's private group coaching. So it's not one-on-one, but there is direct one-on-one work in there because we all kind of tackle whatever roadblocks someone else is having. So and it's pretty good. A great example. We were talking with one of our members, Ricky, last time, and Ricky is still trying to figure out what live streaming platform he wants to use. Both to push his live stream, to host his live stream on. Does he just do Facebook or just do YouTube, or should he go with something like Boxcast? Get boxcast.com. And benefits, how he should do it, as well as, excuse me, what broadcast software to use. Should he start off with OBS? Should he, invest in Wirecast? What's good? How's it going to work? What's going to get me going? What's going to get me going in a cost-effective manner? And one of our members, John Duvall, jumped in and he does like a regular live stream with multiple people, like online Bible study. I mean, it is really cool. I really, really dig what he's doing. And he uses vMix. And so he remoted in, shared the screen. It was amazing. He said, let me show you vMix. And he logged into his computer back at his studio and then shared that screen and said, this is vMix. This is what I use. This is camera 1. This is camera 2. This is our audio. Here's how I can bring in a computer screen. Here's how I bring our Bible in. I'm just like going, wow, this is awesome. So right there, we've got one member who is sharing insights with another member and helping get them moving in the right direction and stuff. And that is the community. That is really cool. And that's what happens in our Mastermind Live group. And what's really cool that we're doing for our members is I'm building an area in our membership site, not just where there's like courses and various tutorials and things like that listed out, but there's like I'm working on like a knowledge base basically. So each one of these little conversations that we have in our live coaching group, I'm cutting those things out. The question and whatever solution we all come up with, and just that little 4 minutes or whatever is being put into the member area and indexed and everything. So ultimately, any of our members will be able to go in there and say, go to the search and have like live streaming, and then here's all this sort of thing, Q&A, tutorial, Q&A, course, and all this stuff is going to be right there, just huge amounts of information to get people going down the right path. And I mean, I don't know of anybody that's just basically developing a huge, what could end up being a huge, after a few years of doing this, just like live knowledge base of all this stuff coagulated into one area. I mean, maybe Justin, I sure don't. Are you there?
Say that again. You're kind of breaking up on my stream there.
Oh, sorry. Do you know of anybody that's gathering this much knowledge and resources and putting them all in one place like this? Like we're trying to build a knowledge base of questions and answers and stuff. I mean,
not that I know of. I have not been able to join every church
yeah.
communications membership yet, but the ones I have,
I like how you say yet.
yeah, yet. But the
Planning on a
ones I
raise?
have are not to this extent. Not with what we're planning. Not with
Yeah.
a knowledge base.
Yeah. So
It's kind of more like someone asks a question in the group and they say, you got to kind of search for it.
Yeah.
In the group.
Yeah.
So no, not like this. This is very different, very new, and very good.
Yeah, I think so too. So, by the way, guys, always ask questions. What did I say last time? I said the only question that is the only dumb question, because we've had people that have been like, I don't want to ask a question. It's going to sound really dumb. It's so basic, and I was like, number one, it's important to you, and if it's important to you, then it's probably important to half a dozen other people at least. You know, the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask, because that's the one that'll never get answered. You know, and that's
Absolutely.
not cool. So anyway, if there's nothing else happening in our chat room, then we can bid everyone a fond adieu, and you, sir, can get on the road.
Not yet. I gotta wait till Jill gets out of school.
Oh,
and I can pick her up. So we still got like a couple hours before we can leave.
Oh, great! You can make me stay here this whole time. Okay.
I'll just sit here on the live stream and work. And if anyone has any questions, you can just. No. I got to pack.
Yeah. Did you get all your washing done?
No, because we only just got our washer back yesterday.
Oh, gee.
So I'm gonna have to
like Fast and Furious, man.
There or something. We just got all the towels washed.
Yeah, that's good.
That's basically all we've done.
You see you driving down the road with like your underwear hanging out the thing, air drying as you go.
It's fresh. You don't need dryer sheets.
That's right.
Let Mother Nature.
Yes, it's that wonderful smell of like tar and asphalt.
Yeah. Are we doing a show next week?
What is next week?
Next week is 21st.
The 21st. We could do a show. We could do a show.
I'll be here. I'm down.
Yeah, I am too. We could do a show, but release it on like the 2nd. What do you think? So we just take
because I want to do 2018 predictions.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that then.
I want us to go through every platform and do a prediction of what's going to change in 2018 for that platform. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of 2019, if I still like you and we're still doing this, we can actually revisit those predictions and see who was right and wrong.
All right.
I thought that'd be fun.
If you still like me, you mean if I haven't changed the locks?
Yeah. What is my password? I didn't change my password.
I can't get into my bank account now.
Dang it, Dave. I knew he would do this. Yeah, I thought that would be fun. And it'd be easy. We'll probably still pre-record it, but I thought it'd be that'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah, I think so. That'll be good. And yeah, by the way, the Christmas week, we are going to be putting out some Facebook posts and doing stuff like that. There's probably going to be, because it's a big, huge family time, we're probably going to be sharing some more just just of our families and of our lives and stuff like that, and kind of let you guys in on what it's like to be a Nava or what it's like to be a Curly. We're getting really big on kind of radical transparency and stuff, and that's on the public face and the behind the scenes face as well. So don't look for a podcast episode and a CTA live. We are going to do a couple of pre-packaged things like that will be scheduled and all that, but we're not going to be live streaming or like not doing this show, and you won't get something new in your iTunes. By the way, holy mackerel, guys, had a problem with the RSS, had to get it straightened out. So like in the last day or so, you probably got 3 or 4 shows come dumping in your iTunes. Everybody go refresh your iTunes feed or your Play Now or Stitcher feed or whatever, and make sure that you've got everything. Sorry about that. I haven't been monitoring that RSS, and so we got things piped in and put back where they belong and all that sort of stuff. So if you're not subscribed, by the way, go to, what is it? churchtrainingacademy.com/podcast, and you can subscribe on the platform of your choice. Anyway.
Yeah, I still can't get it on my Overcast app.
Overcast? I don't know anything about Overcast.
It's the next. It's from what I understand is I love it. It's I use it because I listen to podcasts on 1.5 speed.
Oh yeah.
And the default podcast app doesn't do that.
I
don't know what it pulls from though.
I
know when I did church marketing school, I plugged the RSS feed into like 12 different sources.
Yeah.
And that got it to show up, but I don't think Overcast has their own.
Well, I know. With Pocket Casts, it's just because that's what I use, and it's a matter of just going into the browser and start typing the name and hit or type in the host, and that information pops up. That's how I add folks. I don't know, is the Overcast, Podcast Player for iPhone and Apple Watch, is Overcast strictly an iOS?
I don't know.
It is. How could people like only develop for one platform?
Because they don't care about the other one.
Yeah, even though the other one has a larger install base worldwide.
Install base, but listeners, I don't know. Or
might,
maybe they only know Apple, like they don't want to just deal with Google. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the perk of being a business owner, Dave. You can do whatever you want.
Like podcasts only work on Apple, right?
Yeah.
Oh heavens!
I don't know what RSS feed it pulls from, but ours isn't showing up on there.
All right, well, I'll do whatever we need to.
I'll send you the list that I plugged my RSS feed into, and see if there's one that you haven't done.
Submit podcast to Overcast. I'm just keeping the stream on as we're doing this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, everybody, y'all just get to see how we make sausage here. Y'all want to know what one of our meetings is like? That's another thing we're doing is we're adding our they're not staff meetings, they're our production meetings, I guess you would call them maybe. Our weekly production meeting. We spend about an hour or so going over content strategy and ideas and what worked and what didn't work, and you're an idiot, no, you're an idiot, and all that kind of stuff. And we're actually adding that into our member section as well. So they can say, shut up, you're both idiots. Now do it this way. To add a podcast to the directory, editorial manually to an Overcast account. Okay. Well, I guess that's if you're just adding that.
Yeah.
If it's also in iTunes, it'll show up with
Overcast pulls from the iTunes API.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is once you submit to iTunes, check the app.
Okay. Well, go do a refresh because there was the RSS stalled. I was like a week or two behind in getting episodes up, and so I had to like force a refresh or something at FeedBlitz. So I got all that redone, and the RSS started showing everything. I'm logging into iTunes now just to refresh and see. Refresh and see. There we are.
Somehow we still have 2 people watching.
It's awesome.
Who has nothing better to do than watch us talk?
Probably one of them's us.
Oh yeah, that's true. That might be both us.
Yeah, probably so.
Can't see.
Nobody cares. Somebody stumbling across this going, this is the most boring show in the world. We've moved from
my people are like, who's his hero? Where is he at? I don't know.
we moved from being a live show to being a live stream here. 2 really boring lives. All right, so library.
Yeah, Jordan's watching. Jordan's always watching.
Yeah, Jordan's our stalwart.
He's what would you call that?
A stalker.
You said it, not me.
Let's see. Let me change. I want to change to the right screen here. Where'd my right screen go? There it is. All right, so I'll cut to the right screen so you guys can see. All right, here we are. In iTunes, we got the audio version and the video version. You guys know that there's an audio and a video version of this, don't you? Users, viewers, folks out there watching, Jordan. You'll know because I put a little icon right there, headphones and video camera. So let me, so here it's already refreshed. Top things that we learned in 17, how to use StoryBrand, 3 elements of simple but effective Christmas planning, digital ministry, Billy's. Oh, I think I'm going to be having lunch with Billy on Monday.
So jelly.
Yes, we're going to talk about you. He's going to be like, whatever you do, he doesn't like to be hugged.
No, he was one of the people that actually first, like major people that actually first encouraged me to branch out.
Yeah.
I made some what do you call them? The sermon intros. What do you call them? That like it's to break to clear the stage.
An intro?
I guess it's a sermon intro, but
yeah.
I made some for him, and he basically on his way out as our interim, he was like, you really got something here. The website looks slick, your videos are slick. If you ever are looking to do something extra, go for it.
Yeah,
So that was pretty cool.
that's good. That's good. He's
But he was one of the first people that were like, yeah, go get it.
he's a good dude. Yeah, he emailed me a couple weeks ago like we got to get together for lunch since we're so close, and I was like, okay,
For real.
let's officially start this friendship. He came and filled in worship leading a couple times at our church as we were in the search for an interim worship pastor. And we had a bunch of people coming in at that time, so I don't specifically remember him at that time. I remember we had Paul Smith coming off and on for several weeks. There's a contemporary Christian music name that a lot of people that are older may remember. Paul used to be with the Imperials. Do you know who the Imperials are, Justin? Millennial?
Nope.
Wow.
Okay, I found it. What it is.
What? Who the
You
Imperials
have to
are?
search CTA Live. You cannot search Church Training Academy.
Yeah, CTA Live is the title of
You have to search CTA Live.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so why don't you...
And the top things we learned in 2017 is only 47 seconds long.
47 seconds?
That's what this says.
Mine says 47 minutes in iTunes.
There it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. I guess it just had some weird buffering thing.
Yeah. Okay, so, on the... Let me go to it. On the Church Training Academy, so if we go to ctapodcast.com, let me switch views here, folks. There you are. ctapodcast.com. So I've got where you can subscribe with iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And then down here, here's a couple of how-tos. How to subscribe with Pocket Cast, how to subscribe with Apple Podcasts, how to subscribe with Stitcher Radio. Justin, do you think you could make a how to do it with Overcast?
Yes.
You're able to record your screen on your phone, right? I mean, through, what do you call it? What is that?
I can.
QuickTime. Yes.
The problem is that people are we need to be searchable by either Church Training Academy or CTA Live.
Well,
is the issue. And I'm going to download Stitcher and see how it searches too, because it concerns me that you have to search CTA Live and not Church Training Academy.
Well, I wonder what I need to change, because the title, is it pulling? Is it not indexing the description or anything else?
The reason why it indexes in iTunes is when you search Church Training Academy, it actually recognizes. It looks like it recognizes the provider,
right,
which is dave@churchtrainingacademy.com.
Okay,
is how it finds Church Training Academy, because the actual phrase Church Training Academy is not in the title of the podcast.
No,
that's how it looks like it's finding it in iTunes.
Yeah, but
that's my theory.
But it must not be changing or checking the description, because the podcast description or the podcast metadata or whatever. Because I could swear I put that info in. I'm going into FeedBlitz here and taking a look. Let's check. I guess what I could do is in the title, it says I have CTA Live with Dave Curley, live streaming for churches, learn podcasting, video production, social media, and church media. I guess I could just do from Church Training Academy or from churchtrainingacademy.com, something like that. I think I should do each individual word, Church Training Academy.
Well, I'm not up on the.
I'm
not up on the SEO of podcasting, but I don't understand why we don't just call it Church Training Academy podcast, like Pro Church Tools podcast, or Actionable Podcast by CoSchedule or something like that.
We can, but
like the ones I listen to.
Yeah, we can. When I set it up as CTA Live, because it would be easier to say and remember, and it's short words, and it's, now it's like the Church Training Academy podcast.
Yeah, CTA. I mean, CTA Live. It's got a nice ring to it, and it's quick. But I know in our grand scheme of things, the podcast won't just be CTA Live. Like we're gonna add, like this is months or even years down the road. Is add unique content that maybe it's not from CTA Live.
Mm.
But he talks about like the CTA Live really being its own show,
Mm-hmm.
and then we podcast our interviews.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. It's a little like it's branding. Like, is it CTA Live or is it Church Training Academy? I'm actually searching in Stitcher now, and I can't find either one though.
Okay. Well, I'm up for a name change, but the name of the website is pretty deadgum long. The Church Training Academy show. I still have This Week in Church Media.
See, and I want to bring that back too.
You do? Okay.
Like the Church Training Academy podcast featuring CTA Live on Tuesdays and This Week in Church Media on Saturdays or something like that.
Right.
Like, although really you'd want them to be separate streams.
I know.
But,
well, no, they can be. That's not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, Church Training Academy and CTA Live is not pulling up on Stitcher.
Interesting.
Something's up there.
We could call it. We could call it the Church Training Academy podcast. Church Training Academy show. Yeah, I'm up for that. If there's anybody still in the chat room, what do y'all think?
I'm looking at, so going down the list of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, the Church Training Academy experience. So this is the ones that I listen to.
Okay.
A lot of them actually don't have show or podcast.
Okay.
Actionable Marketing Podcast, that's from CoSchedule.
Mm-hmm.
Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller. And then he's got some SEO, Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller, Clarifying Your Message.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The Church Communications Podcast, Church Butler's Lunch and Learn Podcast, the Gary V Audio Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Marketing School. That's Neil Patel's.
Mm-hmm.
Perpetual Traffic by Digital Marketer, Pop Culturist Podcast, and then of course Pro Church Podcast with Brady Shearer. The Science of Social Media, that's a fantastic one by Buffer. That is a like cutting edge but applicable social media stuff. Seminary of Hard Knocks Podcast with Seth Muse, the YM Sidekick Podcast, the BenSettle.com Podcast, Church Brand Guide Podcast, Social Media Church Podcast, That Church Podcast. So a lot of them are ending it with the word podcast. So if we want to follow suit, that's fine. And it looks about maybe 20% of them don't use podcasts or just name the show.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing School, Perpetual Traffic, Science of Social Media. So I guess it can go either way. Personally, I think I would just put Church Training Academy. Because I think people would pull up the podcast app and just search Church Training Academy.
That works for me. Okay.
That's my kind of user. But then again, I don't have a lot of UX experience in podcasting, so know how the SEO works for that.
One of the important things to do is actually where to go.
Sermon bumper. Jordan called it. There you go. Sermon bumper.
There you go.
That's what I was thinking of. Not sermon intro, but sermon bumper.
One of the things to do is to for SEO wise is to put some of that information, put some descriptive information as a part of the podcast title.
Right.
So right now I have CTA Live with Dave Curley. I could change that to Church Training Academy live streaming for church. I'd probably want to call it Church Training Academy Show or Church Training Academy Podcast. Live streaming for churches, learn podcasting, video production, social media, and church media. That is part of a descriptor in the title. So I can definitely just change it to that. Which means I got to go redo that intro again. The Church Training Academy Show. Or the Church Media Show presented by Church Training Academy. The Dave and Justin Show presented by Church Training Academy.
Yeah, I need to update our RSS cover
Yeah, the
too.
artwork. Yep.
How many video podcasts? We've had this discussion before. We won't get into it now.
Mhm.
How many video podcast downloads do we get?
Let's see. It's about the same for both. Let me go back. We don't have too many subscribers. We really need to be posting or pushing it. Let's see.
Well, a lot of that's gonna change once we start doing paid ads in 2018.
Yeah, so we've got 18 subscribers on the video and 28 on the audio.
And how many views are we getting on the videos? Like, I know iTunes counts a download at what, 3 seconds or 30 seconds?
Let's see.
Because we've had this time before. I don't know anyone that watches video podcasts. Like, I used to watch them. I mean, mostly from Twit.
Yeah,
there was I think
that
one
Twit's doing his video
out of Saddleback, but I don't know. It just didn't stick. I don't know any. I know a lot of people that listen to podcasts, but not any videos.
Well, it's not a video podcast. It's on-demand show. You got to think of it like that. It's an on-demand show that shows up in Apple TV. And so if you're an Apple TV subscriber, you can go boop and subscribe to it, and there it is. And you don't have to go to the Apple TV YouTube app and then do a search.
So is that in the Apple Podcast app on the Apple TV?
Yeah.
Like, where does it show up?
I don't know. Do you have an Apple TV?
Yeah.
All right. Go in there and look.
Do I search videos? Do I search the podcast app?
Yeah, go to the podcast app, I guess. Whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. It's in iTunes. So however the Apple TV thing works. The net is you go in there and subscribe to your shows just like you would anything else. So, that's the deal. And the big thing is the ability to create your own app. And there it is. I've got my channel now.
I understand that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I look at this stuff. I'm really pragmatic when it comes to stuff like this. YouTube doesn't belong to me, so RSS does. I own my RSS. So if YouTube decides, like they did with Prager University, that they're going to start, we're gonna turn off certain videos that we disagree with because they're not politically correct, then every church needs to make YouTube a part of their media strategy and their communication strategy. They also need to operate as if YouTube is going to go away at some point for whatever reason. Really doesn't matter what the reason is. YouTube is not owned by you. You own your own platform, so be sure that you are in charge 100% of your platform. And if Facebook goes away, that's okay. You still have your website, and you can figure out how to get people to that website at some point. And it will be most likely through your email. So you own your email list. You see what I'm saying? So I have a paid account with a podcast host. So, if they and my RSS for the podcast is a completely separate entity. So I source it from this place over here, but the RSS is over here. So all I ever have to do is go into my RSS service and change where the source is coming from. So if my podcast host goes, we're only going to do gaming podcasts. We don't want to have anything to do with anything that ever touches a church. So no churches, no church content, no people talking about church. Church goes away. Then fine. They kill 2/3 of their thing. That's what their business model is. Doesn't matter. I just move my content to another podcast host and change the source. And, in a couple of days, everybody's back online. So these free services that are out there, use them, exploit them, but don't rely on them for long term because you're not in control of them. So the
video podcast is free?
Yeah.
From where?
No, it's not free. It's not free. It's a part of the podcasting host that I use. So if you have a Podbean account, you can have an audio only or an audio and video account. So Now you can have that. The thing is, that's your Podbean account. Now, if Podbean goes under, we've seen podcast hosts, be bought up and shut down, and everybody's been using SoundCloud, and SoundCloud's been fluctuating and having issues and having to rely on angel investors and all this kind of stuff and restructuring and all that sort of stuff. Okay, let's say SoundCloud goes away. Now, and you've used SoundCloud to submit your RSS to iTunes and stuff. Well, now you got to go set up somewhere else and get into your iTunes account and start changing things up and make a request to get the RSS source changed and all this sorts. So I use FeedBlitz, and I go in there, and here's my RSS, and it's always going to be constant. It's always going to be called this, but the source is a different place. Same thing with YouTube. We're using the YouTube platform, and we'll use it as long as we can, but I don't want to rely on it. And have you ever gone into some of these smart TVs and tried to find stuff that you've subscribed to and all that? You can't. It's hard. It's so, we have a video podcast, and if we've got 17 people that are using it, we've got 17 people that are watching our show via video podcast. 17
Well, we have 17 subscribers.
Yeah.
What I want to know is how many are watching it.
Yeah.
How many downloads are we getting?
Let me look. Let me see if I can find that out. Circulation, the mean is 16.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Does it say platform or anything? IP? Any other data points?
Mm-mm.
Man, I wish data was a little bit better on these things.
Supposedly iTunes is going to have, better stuff, but it's just one of several.
Right.
When we, I'm still using my original podcasting host. When the company is paying for it and I'm not having to pay for it out of my own pocket, then I am going to move us over to Podbean. However, our church is over on Podbean, and they have a lot better metrics and all that. Yeah, and I've used Podbean with a lot of my clients and stuff and all that. I love it. But right now, I'm having to pay for this, and so I don't want to shell out $350 a year for Podbean just yet. The company's going to pay.
And that's
for
with video, right?
For both. It's a podcast host.
For both, yeah. How much is just audio? Is it $3 a month? Something like that?
No.
$36?
I don't remember. It's a good question. Get Podbean. Let's see.
Yeah. $3 a month if you pay by the year.
Yeah.
Or $5 a month if you pay for audio only. Which,
hang on. That's only, but the problem is
that that's not unlimited. Okay, I had my thing shifted. Yeah. Unlimited audio is $9 a month.
Right.
When paid. Yeah, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
It's the difference between 100 megabytes a month, which, if you're stripping down the quality of your audio, if you're doing once a month.
No, for this I would only recommend the unlimited.
Yeah.
Just get unlimited, and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Or
I've been there. I've had to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then with the audio and video, it says unlimited video, which basically is an audio and video podcasting, is $29 a month. Which I tell folks, go ahead and do it that way. If your budget allows for it, go ahead and just pay for the year, and then you don't have to worry about it till next year. But if you need to go month to month, then it's $40 a month, $39 a month. But it's good, and they even. When you do the unlimited, you have the premium podcast thing, so you can actually have a paid subscription podcast if you want, which is really cool.
Who does that? Does anyone do that?
I'm sure they do. I remember what's his face. What is the guy's name? He was one of the original podcasters that was doing premium podcasting. His Screencasts Online was the name of it. I'll tell you who that is. The guy was a pioneer, and people are subscribing to it. I mean, he was one of the original, just straight up subscription site, content marketers. I mean, he was doing this 10, 12 years ago, easy. And he was doing it all by hand, too, which was great. I'll tell you his name. Don McAllister. Yeah. Good guy. I've met him several times. Yeah, he started this in March 2006. Oh, and he's added more people to it, so that's good. Boy, he's got a good-sized post-production team now. I love seeing that. Yeah, guys like Irish or British, and you know, you're just sitting there doing screencasts, doing walkthroughs of software and how to use them, and all this kind of stuff is really impressive. Really impressive.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Well, I got to get going. The credits are rolling on your Star Wars video behind you.
Oh, they sure are.
Probably already done. And yeah. All right. For anyone that stuck around for the live stream, hey,
why?
You just saw a little bit of what make me and Dave tick here.
Yeah, you get to. This is the kind of stuff that we actually talk about in our no comments. See, CTA app. Yes, we're gonna do a CTA app. It's one of these days. It's gonna be a while.
Yes.
But yes, we are going to do that, and we're also going to have a course one of these days about how to build your own app, how to build your own Roku channel, do all that sort of stuff, because all of that is important. How to build your own iTunes app, iOS app, and the cool thing is a lot of that stuff's easier to do nowadays. It's very building block versus, open curly brace and start declaring things. All right. So you guys be safe. Travel safe, dude. Have fun. When are you going to be back?
All right. Sunday night, late Sunday night.
All right.
That's when I'll be back.
Enjoy it. Enjoy. Go UMHB.
Yes. Go Crew.
All right.
All right. See y'all next week.